everyone. Welcome to Theater Talk. This time after the production of On Your Feet. Wonderful musical. It's probably one of the most exciting musicals that's been here at Proctor's. I don't know how these people got to... I don't know how these cast members toweled off their perspiration so quickly to be here for Theater Talk, but they did. I'd like to ask them to introduce themselves, where they're from, what part they play in the show, and anything else they'd like to include. So why don't you start?
Hello, my name is Joe Rivera. I am born and raised in Puerto Rico. Currently live in Las Vegas. I am one of the male dancers in the show, and something that's really fun and exciting about my life is that theater and musical theater actually is quite new to me, fairly new. I've done a lot of dance shows, and this is one of my second musical that I've done in my career. So learning every day, sweating every day, as you just said. But a wild ride and very exciting ride.
Hi, everybody. My name is Danny Burgos, and I am in the ensemble of the show, but today you saw me as Emilio Estefan. I am originally from Miami, Florida, so I'm at home every night. And a fun thing about me, I didn't start doing musical theater until I was like in 10th grade, and it's because I was singing for tips at a Cold Stone Creamery. So there's that.
Hi, my name is Deborah Cardona, and you saw me as Abuela Consuelo. So now you're seeing me minus the gray wig and the sensible shoes. Well, I still have sensible shoes, but I'm from New York, New York City. I'm Puerto Rican. 3 of my 4 grandparents were born in Puerto Rico. And I'm one of the few people in the cast that remembers when all of these songs came out.
Hello, my name is Devin Goffman. I played Phil, the record producer in the show, and I also played Dr. Newworth. But yeah, you could boo me, it's okay. But you're like, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, born and raised in Orchard Park. And I went to school at SUNY Fredonia, which is also a SUNY school. I'm excited to be back upstate. I've been here with Jersey Boys and with Motown recently. And a fun little fact, I performed in Saratoga Springs when I was in high school with Spirit of Youth, which was a show choir that we traveled. And we performed at the Saratoga Springs County Fair.
Very good. Very good. All right, you're all enthused. How about some enthusiastic questions? Anything you may wish to ask? Yes. How do you do it show after show?
Let's hand it to Joe.
He works the hardest. How do we do it? A prayer and lots of prayers. No. Well, we all have our own, schedules and our own way of keeping up with the show, right? It's up to us as performers to do what we need to do to make sure that we can show up every day, twice a day, like today, and do a show. It's a very demanding show, as you saw, but it's a very fun show at the same time. So we use each other during the show as well. That's why you may hear us yelling and hooping, hollering, trying to get us to keep going, But I know for myself, I'm very big into yoga. I'm really big into, fitness and all that stuff prior to the show. So I can, by the time I get to the show, I'm warmed up and ready to go,
And do you do anything when you have a matinee and an evening performance, anything particular in between that would be a shorter routine?
So people think I'm crazy, but I am going to the gym after this, right before the show. So yes, I guess you can call that crazy.
Yeah, okay. All right.
How about those dancers? I mean, they literally are our backbone of our show, with them and the Miami Sound Machine that was behind us. You guys heard the band, and we have 5 members of the original Miami Sound Machine on stage.
Cool. All right, question, yes.
Phenomenal show. What struck me was the costumes, phenomenal costumes. But you changed costumes like 15, 20 times. Did the smooth back
All right, they change costumes seems like 15, 20 times during the show. Is it as smooth backstage as it appears on stage?
So when I'm in my normal ensemble track, I have 17 costume changes. And sometimes they happen. The answer to that is it is so smooth backstage. It's basically its own choreography. So we have choreography on stage that you're looking at, and it's so specifically staged backstage that I always go to the same place to change for, I'm usually the guy with the mullet. And I always go to the same place, change into the guy with the mullet, run around the stage, and enter from the other side, and no one is ever in my way. And other people are doing their quick changes as well. And it's so funny when an understudy goes on. When I went on for Emilio today, I usually always go to the same place for the change right after Wrapped, and it was in a different place today. So I was just standing in the place and was like, and I just heard Danny, and I was like, okay. So there are little like cogs thrown in our plan every now and then, but it's staged backstage. It's all choreography. You can follow it.
Do you have to do different choreography for different theaters, or is basically the space backstage about the same?
Every backstage is different. We've got plenty of room in this venue, but there's plenty of room backstage, which is we're so thankful for. Sometimes we have very, very little space, so sometimes we have to go down to the basement to do quick changes or to get from stage left to stage right. And it depends on how much time you have, because sometimes you gotta run. So the choreography, you kind of, when you show up at a new theater every week, you once you get on stage, you start checking out what your path is gonna be, and if anything has to be different. And then you have to time it. So it's kind of a science, but it's something that changes with every theater. Keeps us on our toes, so it's great.
I can imagine. What about with the costumes with that many changes in a relatively short period of time? How much Velcro is used?
There is so much Velcro. Velcro, rigged shoes, if you've got sneakers on, it's already tied and it's set up so that you can just stick your feet in. So because you really, I'm really easy. I go back to my dressing room for just about every train except for one where we come out on the sofa when Gloria first sings. I have to like rip off an apron and put on a sweater and then sit down, and I think I have about 10 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
When I do my quick change, you saw as Phil into the makeup, the cream on my face, the avocado, if you remember. And it's very quickly, I go off stage and on, and I have 4 helpers backstage waiting for me. And in every city, 2 of those helpers are local. So they're wonderful dressers that help us through the show, that are local, that learn the show the first day, and they're amazing. And it's pretty seamless for me, because I just have to go off stage, and I do help a little bit, but they do most of the work for us.
Interesting. All right, question, yes.
As part of the ensemble, you play the lead role. In a given month, how often would you play that role? How often do you get to practice?
In a given month, how often would you play Emilio as a lead role?
So our actual Emilio, Mauricio Martinez, is a rock. He never calls out. He has this instrument that I don't understand it, and it's always solid. So he rarely ever calls out. I have gone on, I think, a total of 7 times, and we've been on tour for 9 months, and that's not counting his vacation, which was like, you deserve a vacation, take a week. But I mean, I go on not frequently, but like I'm out of my track sometimes because of other things. I understudy Phil, I understudy Gloria's dad, I understudy, basically if a man talks on stage, I understudy him. And yeah, I mean, I would say that in a month, I would get to go on for those tracks like maybe 2 or 3 times. But we rehearse at least once or twice a month is what it's supposed to be. We've had a lot of like changeover in our cast, and so we have a lot of people going into ensemble tracks they're a little more important to be rehearsed. And so we have a lot of dancers coming in that are just, they need rehearsal time.
But Danny's really special. You guys saw his performance as Emilio. And for us on stage as actors, he's very present and he's always doing amazing things. And we're very fortunate to have someone who knows all the parts who's that good. So I just wanted to say that because it's exciting when we get to go on with Danny. We love it.
And your days off are?
Mondays.
If we're traveling on a Monday, we don't get a day off. We just travel. But we travel and then we rest and then we start the next day. But every Tuesday is usually a new city.
Wow.
And unless we're there for multiple weeks, which sometimes we played Detroit for 2 weeks, we played Cleveland for a few weeks, we're playing LA for a month coming up, we're playing San Francisco for a month coming up. So we get to have those Mondays off, which we call golden days. And
Yeah, I can
we love
imagine.
those days.
I can imagine. Yes.
How long does it take time-wise to put a show like this together that has such tremendous amount of choreography and songs as well as the
How long does it take to put a show like this together that has so many songs, so much choreography, so much acting? I mean, there's action all the time.
Well, this show, we started rehearsals in late August, and we started in New York, and the show closed on Broadway the day before we started rehearsals, basically. And about half of the cast was from the Broadway company, and we started rehearsals in New York. We rehearsed for a few weeks, then we went to Buffalo, and we teched the show, which is when we add the technical aspects, for 3 weeks or so in Buffalo. So it was about 6 weeks of rehearsal for this production. The show, when it was actually created, takes obviously longer to the writers and the director and the choreographer in creating all of this work. But we're the second production of the show. I guess the first production was the Broadway show, and we're the first national tour.
Okay. Questions? Yes. How much were Gloria and Emilio involved in the touring production?
They were very involved. They have been involved in the process since the workshops. And they made themselves very available to the cast. You could talk to them. I'm a replacement, so I didn't have the benefit of what everybody else here has, but I will get that in LA because they're coming to LA. But yeah, they would sit and talk with Christy and Mauricio, who play Gloria and Emilio, and talk at length about their family. Talk to Doreen Montalvo, who had done it on Broadway and has joined us. So she knows them. When she came back to join us, Gloria and Emilio sent her notes on Instagram and said hello to me. And they're just really, really wonderful, nice people. And they have treated the entire cast like family.
That's wonderful to hear. That's wonderful to hear. All right, questions? Yes. How many Glorias are there in the show? You're not included in that, right? No.
Yes, I am. No. I could do it if they needed to. I just need a wig. No, so we have our Gloria, Christy Prades, that you guys saw tonight and this afternoon, and then we have her two understudies, which are Marina Pires and Claudia Yanes, Claudia Yanes usually plays Rebecca. And yeah, so the short answer is 3 at any given point on stage. But I mean, with the Glorias from Broadway, the Glorias from our tour, the Glorias in Amsterdam, the Glorias to be in London, like there are like 10 girls that are just ready to go.
Now there's an Amsterdam about 20 miles west of here. I presume you mean the one across the pond.
Yes, the one across the pond.
Okay. You had a question? Yes.
How much of the ensemble and the whole cast is Hispanic to begin with?
How much of the ensemble and the entire cast is Hispanic?
I would say, 99%? You know, this is the 1%. Yeah, a lot of us are actually either born and raised in Puerto Rico or in Cuba. Puerto Ricans and Cubans are the two main nationalities in our cast, or have parents or or from Miami, Florida, parents of Cuba and Puerto Rico. So yeah, we're very very Latin based.
Yeah. The statistic that we tell people both from New York, the Broadway show, and our tour was that we're the first primarily Hispanic company to be a part of a show. Even in West Side Story, when it was first mounted and then revived and all that stuff, they had a large Hispanic presence, but we are the first show to have a 99.9% Latino cast,
Hello, point one.
No, I am so fortunate to get to do this show and to be a part of it. It's the most warmest family that I've become a part of, and including Gloria and Emilio themselves. And what I've learned is something that I can't compare to anything in my life. So it's been it's been very special to be a part of this community and this cast.
And the food's pretty good too.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
Yes. There's a young boy on stage, and could one of you tell us a little bit about that youngster?
Okay. There are 2 little boys that play young Emilio, and there are 2 little girls that play young Gloria. You saw Jordan today. And it's amazing because he's a salsa champion, and he's 9. He's been a salsa champion since he was 6. And there's videos on YouTube to show you. And the other little boy, CJ, is also an incredible salsa dancer. When he first joined the company and we saw him in his put-in, we all looked at each other and went, how? I could never move my legs that fast. And here are these 2 little boys that can do it. They're really, really amazing. All 4 children travel with 1 parent. So, and they have a teacher, and they have school 4 hours a day.
1 parent each, or 1 parent total?
1 parent each, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. All right, questions? Yes.
Jumped up and landed in those high heels. And it was like, oh my God, how did they do that?
One point in the show where 3 women are in front, 3 women in the cast in the front, jump up and land in high-heeled shoes, and the question is, my Lord, how do they do that?
Having had to do that when I first started my career a million years ago, you do it well, you're rehearsing. You're rehearsing all the time, you're working out, you're taking dance class, and you're taking dance class in heels. Maybe not quite that high, but you're taking them in heels. So that when you are doing a show, you are ready to do whatever you need to do. Now, I talked to Christy about how she sings and jumps up and down, because she's one of them. I watch her do that, and her voice never wavers. And she said when she was preparing for this, she used to jump rope and sing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, we have just gotten the signal. We have time for one more question, so whoever is the first to hand up a $20 bill, we will. No, right here in the front. Go ahead.
There was one point where you made a comment about this is what an American looks like. Was that, I think that was taken as a political thing. Was that added? What has the reaction been in other parts of the country to when you said something?
There was a line in the show that says, "This is what an American looks like." Was that added? Is it because of the political climate? What is the reaction in other parts of the country?
So that line is literally what makes this show important to take around the country at this point in time. But that being said, that line has been in since the workshop. So since the first version of this script, Alex Dinelaris, who wrote Birdman, is our book writer. He put that into the script, and of course, Emilio and Gloria loved it. But we get that a lot. We get, oh, do you add that in? Like, was that added in afterwards or anything like that? But it's been there since the beginning, and we used to get incredible reactions on Broadway, and we've had incredible reactions from the places we've played on tour, and it's just so eye-opening and so wonderful to see, to take that take this show, but to take that line around the country and know that everyone understands. We are all a part of people who understand and are trying to support each other. That's what I get from it every time I say it.
And
You know?
is there a difference in very deep red states versus blue states?
Yeah.
I mean, you go.
Well, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be on stage during that moment every day, and it's a special part of this show. And yeah, I guess you said, those problems were happening even before the things that are happening in the world. They were already happening when he wrote this, and now more people know about the problems that are going on. And yeah, it's different in every city, and it's a different reaction. But I think in general, people are surprised by that thought that people wouldn't think that we were built on immigrants, which is our country. Every one of us, no matter that my skin is white and I'm Jewish, my family was from all over, and we're all a bunch of people who are from everywhere. So, though I live with that privilege, I'm very fortunate to be a part of a show that's telling the right message around the country right now when it's most important.
I have to let you know, my daughter-in-law family is originally from Ecuador. I have 2 grandsons. One takes after my son. The other one takes after my daughter-in-law. So my daughter-in-law loves to say, we've got 2 Arnikis, a white Arniki and a brown Arniki. Isn't that wonderful? How about a warm thank you for these wonderful cast members? Thank you very much. And that concludes Theater Talk for today. Thank you very much for joining us, and have yourself a wonderful day.